2008, the eyes of the entire world were fixed on Beijing, China. After years of effort and global lobbying, China had finally been granted the right to host the Summer Olympics for the very first time. For the Chinese government, this was more than just a sporting event. It was a chance to prove to the world that their nation had risen into the modern age with power, prestige, and world-class infrastructure. Billions of dollars were poured into the preparation. A brand new Olympic stadium was constructed, famously called the Bird's Nest. Beijing's airport was renovated and expanded. New transport systems were introduced, and thousands of buses were added to the city. The government wanted every single detail to be perfect, from lighting to power backup, from security to public transport. Everything was carefully arranged. The opening ceremony was planned as one of the grandest spectacles in modern history. But then, just 2 days before the event, a single announcement threatened to undo years of preparation. China's meteorological department delivered shocking news. Heavy thunderstorms and torrential rain were forecasted in Beijing on the exact day of the opening ceremony. For the organizers, this was a nightmare. The National Stadium was an open-air structure, and a single hour of rainfall could ruin the entire event in front of billions of viewers across the world. Tickets had been sold, teams had already arrived, and media networks from every continent had set up their cameras. But if the rain came, it could wash away China's dream moment in history. Panic spread among the officials. Only 24 hours remained, and every possible solution was on the table. That was when the Chinese government decided to attempt something almost unbelievable: to stop the rain itself. The method they used was a controversial weather modification technology known as cloud seeding. On the day of the opening ceremony, as massive rain clouds approached the city, Chinese aircraft were sent to release special chemicals into the atmosphere before the clouds could reach Beijing. These particles forced the clouds to release their rain prematurely outside the city. By the time the clouds floated toward the Olympic Stadium, they had already emptied themselves. The skies above Beijing were perfectly clear, and the opening ceremony went ahead in stunning style. For the rest of the world, it was nothing short of a miracle. China had bent nature itself to protect its moment of glory. But what exactly is cloud seeding, and how did humanity discover that it could control something as powerful and natural as the weather? To answer that, we must understand how rainfall works in the first place. Rain begins with the heat of the Sunday. When sunlight warms the surface of the oceans, rivers, and lakes, water begins to evaporate. The vapor rises into the sky, where the air is cooler. These vapor molecules condense into tiny droplets that together form clouds. But these droplets remain too small to fall on their own. They float, suspended in the sky, waiting for something to trigger them to combine into larger drops. This is where natural particles like dust, soil, or even smoke come in. When the water droplets encounter these particles, they begin to stick together. Gradually, they grow larger and heavier until gravity pulls them down as rain. Cloud seeding artificially speeds up this process. By introducing special compounds like silver iodide or dry ice into the clouds, scientists create artificial particles around which water droplets can cluster. Once enough droplets form, rainfall begins. In simple terms, cloud seeding tricks the clouds into raining when and where humans want it. This concept was first discovered in 1946 by an American chemist chemist named Vincent Schaefer. The idea quickly caught the attention of governments and militaries, who realized that whoever controlled the weather could hold enormous power. In fact, cloud seeding was used as a weapon of war during the Vietnam conflict. Beginning in 1967, the United States launched a secret mission known as Operation Popeye, using C-130 Hercules aircraft. American forces spread silver iodide into the monsoon clouds over Vietnam. The goal was to extend the rainy season, flooding roads and cutting supply lines for the North Vietnamese army. And it worked. The monsoon season grew longer, the terrain turned into rivers of mud, and enemy supply routes were destroyed by landslides. Nature itself had been turned into a weapon of war. It was one of the first times in history where humans had deliberately changed weather patterns to gain a military advantage. But cloud seeding was not only about war. In the modern era, nations have used it for survival. Nowhere is this clearer than in the deserts of the Middle East, particularly Dubai. Dubai is famous for its luxury, its skyscrapers, and its futuristic projects. But beneath the glamour lies a serious problem: water scarcity. The city receives barely 10 days of rainfall in an entire year. There are no major rivers flowing through it, and the groundwater reserves are extremely limited. The only source of fresh water is the sea, but seawater is salty and undrinkable. To make it usable, Dubai invested heavily in desalination plants. These facilities use reverse osmosis technology to remove salt from seawater, producing clean drinking water. But desalination is an expensive process. Running the plants requires massive amounts of energy, and the cost of producing just 1,000 liters of drinkable water can reach nearly $60. For a city growing as fast as Dubai, this was not sustainable. So, the government turned to the sky. Cloud seeding missions are now regularly conducted in the mountains outside Dubai. Special aircraft release chemicals into promising clouds, forcing them to rain. The rainwater is collected in dams and reservoirs before it can run into the sea. This water not only provides drinking supplies but is also used to generate electricity. In comparison to desalination, cloud seeding is far cheaper. While producing water from the sea might cost thousands of rupees, the same amount of water obtained through cloud seeding might cost only a fraction of that. For Dubai, this technology is not just an experiment, it is a necessity. Without it, sustaining the city's population would be nearly impossible. Yet despite its usefulness, cloud seeding remains controversial. Scientists still debate how effective it truly is. Some argue that its success depends on the right kind of clouds being present in the first place. Others raise concerns about environmental impacts, questioning whether altering rainfall in one place might cause drought in another. The chemicals used, like silver iodide, are also studied for their long-term effects on ecosystems. Critics say humanity is playing with forces it doesn't fully understand, but supporters argue that in a world facing climate change, water shortages, and extreme weather, technologies like cloud seeding may be essential for survival. From Beijing's clear skies during the 2008 Olympics, to the muddy jungles of Vietnam, to the shimmering deserts of Dubai, cloud seeding has become one of the most fascinating and mysterious technologies of our age. It represents both the brilliance and the danger of human ambition, the desire to control nature itself. The question remains, as our knowledge grows, will we use this power responsibly? Or will the skies one day answer back in ways we cannot control?